Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, a Palestinian terrorist wounds at least 8 when he opens fire on a Jerusalem city bus Sunday morning. Meantime, Israel showing further proof of its military mercy following slanderous accusations from Gaza. And later, a wave that could seriously shake things up ahead of elections in November. Former IDF Chief of Staff Gadi Eisenkot announcing his political debut. A horrific scene early Sunday morning in Jerusalem as a Palestinian terrorist opening fire on a city bus and a nearby parking lot. The attack injuring at least 8 people, 2 of whom, including a pregnant woman, are in serious condition.
At 1:24 a.m. we got a call on a mass shooting terrorist attack going on at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. When I got to the scene, I saw a few people lying on the floor in critical condition. 3 of them were in critical condition and another few that were lightly injured. We also had a baby that we took out of harm's way, and all of them were transferred to the hospital for taking care.
A Palestinian resident of East Jerusalem carrying out a premeditated terrorist shooting attack early Sunday morning between the Western Wall and the Tomb of David holy sites. According to reports, the suspect waiting for passengers to begin boarding a city bus before opening fire and then fleeing on foot.
2 people outside I see falling, 2 inside. It was bleeding, and people, everybody entry panic.
At least 7 civilians injured during the attack and taken to hospital for care, including 2 who are in critical condition. And among the 2, a pregnant mother who suffered gunshot wounds to her stomach, thereby forcing her into emergency-induced labor. The baby is in serious but stable condition. Then the other critical victim, a man shot in the head and the neck. He's one of 4 victims from the same family of Satmar Hasidic Jewish tourists who had arrived from the United States on Wednesday. Meantime, the suspected terrorist turning himself and the pistol he used into police following an hours-long manhunt, and Prime Minister Lapid responding to the incident, saying that he wishes a speedy recovery to the injured and that all who seek our harm should know that they will pay a heavy price. Joining me with more on this morning's attack, Magen David Adom paramedic Katya Kirschenbaum. Katya, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much. Now, what did you see when you got on scene this morning?
So thank you. Last night at approximately 1:30 at night, we got a call in the Magen David Adom dispatch center about a very severe shooting incident near the Western Wall. Our teams arrived on the scene. When I got on the scene, we saw a bus and several gunshot victims that are suffering from injuries in their upper body. I treated and evacuated the victim that suffered the neck injury. We got to him in time, and he received critical emergency care at the scene and was evacuated quickly and safely to the hospital. In total, as you know, we treated 7 patients, 2 of them in critical conditions.
How soon after the shooting started did you get there? How quick was the sequence of events between the shooting, the emergency call, and your arrival? And was it still considered a potentially active shooter situation?
Yes, it was considered an active shooter situation. We were instructed by our dispatch center to keep our safety, to be prepared with helmets and protective gear. We were told to minimize our time on the scene, as we did. From the time we received the call till I arrived on the scene with our intensive care unit, it was less than 5 minutes. And in less than 10 minutes from arrival on the scene, the patient was already inside the hospital emergency room.
Wow.
In the trauma room.
So was there anything unique about this scene from your perspective as you arrived? You know, what about this attack caught your attention most while you were there?
It was a very difficult scene. There were a lot of injured people, a lot of panic, suffering victims. There were two main sites on the scene, which makes it a challenge to be certain that all the victims, the urgent victims, are evacuated on time. But we worked efficiently, and most of the victims, especially the critical ones, were in few minutes already in the emergency rooms, in the trauma area, getting their best care that possibly is available.
Now, how often, Katya, do you actually get called to incidents like this, to roadside accidents or, in this case, a shooting? But how often do you get called to incidents like this that are so serious? We understand, obviously, of course, that there were, many injuries, roadside accidents over the last couple of weeks as well.
So there are serious cases, especially in the last few weeks. There are a lot of road accidents and really critical patients. We don't have the privilege in Israel to say that it's rarely. We have a different reality here, and it includes critical patients like that from gunshot wounds. Wow. And also catastrophic accidents as well on the roads.
All right. Well, Katya, thank you so much for your incredible service and life-saving work. Thank you again for joining us as well.
Thank you.
And now on the evolving security situation in Jerusalem, I'm here with CEO and founder of the Israel Defense and Security Forum, Brigadier General Reserves Amir Avivi. Brigadier General, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure. Now, many Palestinians are praising the attack as revenge for Operation Breaking Dawn. But what do we know about the shooter? Does he have any terror connections, for example? Or is this believed to be a lone wolf attack?
Well, we see mostly in the area of Jerusalem lone wolf attacks, but they're always incited by the propaganda we see from Hamas, from the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and unfortunately also from the Palestinian Authority that supports with billions of dollars terrorists to conduct terror attacks. So when you see all this in social media and all these attacks against Israelis and Jews, it comes as no surprise that you see an attack like that.
Why would the terrorist turn himself in then? Do you think that he was suddenly contrite for some reason, or was that maybe the safest option for him in the end?
Well, I guess he's the kind of terrorist that doesn't want to die. And also, this has become an economic enterprise. This guy is going to gain 12 times more than a judge in the Palestinian Authority. So basically, killing Jews and going to jail is become a prosperous business in the Palestinian society.
All right, now Israelis are rightly worried when things like this occur, but police authorities are saying that this is almost normal routine for Jerusalem. How many attacks like this are prevented every month, and how do we know?
Well, we know that the Shin Bet, together with the army, foils thousands of attacks every year. Every night, we have operations in which we apprehend potential terrorists or terrorists that conducted already attacks around Judea and Samaria, but also in East Jerusalem and in other places. Unfortunately, in the last few years, we have seen a growing involvement of Israeli Arabs in these attacks, and this is something that worries us, and we need to take care of that.
All right. Brigadier General, the terrorist fled on foot back to Silwan. Israel is a high-tech superpower with cameras across every corner of the major cities. How is he able to escape capture until turning himself in, especially when in Israel, capturing dozens of terrorists every day is a normal thing?
Well, this is a densely populated area, and when you shoot from afar, it's quite easy to retreat into these small roads inside this urban area. At the end of the day, afterwards, the police and the Shin Bet are able to get the intelligence needed to apprehend the terrorists. But since many times it's somebody who just decides to go on with a terror attack with no prior intelligence, it takes time to apprehend him.
All right, Brigadier General Avivi, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.